How did WW1 aerial reconnaissance impact the Eastern Front? Imagine flying high above a vast battlefield, seeing everything happening below in real time. That was the power of aerial reconnaissance during World War I. It changed how armies gathered intelligence on the Eastern Front. Before planes, armies relied on soldiers on the ground or cavalry to spot enemy movements. These methods were slow and often inaccurate. With the arrival of reconnaissance aircraft, things shifted dramatically. These planes, usually two-seater models, carried a pilot and an observer. The observer would take notes, sketch maps, or take photographs of enemy troop positions and terrain. This information was then sent back to commanders, often using wireless transmitters. It was a new way to get quick, precise updates about what was happening on the battlefield. On the Eastern Front, the size and fluidity of the fighting made aerial reconnaissance especially useful. The German army used planes effectively during the Battle of Tannenberg to track Russian troop movements. This gave them a big advantage because they knew where the Russians were heading and could plan their attacks accordingly. Meanwhile, the Russian forces were slower to adopt aerial reconnaissance. They still relied heavily on traditional cavalry scouting, which meant they often found out about enemy advances too late. This delay sometimes cost them valuable ground. Reconnaissance planes also helped with artillery. They could observe where shells landed and send corrections back to the artillery units. This made their fire more accurate and deadly. The planes could fly for behind enemy lines, sometimes at high altitudes with oxygen gear to avoid anti-aircraft fire and enemy fighters. This allowed them to cover large areas and gather detailed photographic images of enemy positions. These images helped commanders create better maps and plan their next moves. The constant flow of aerial intelligence meant both sides could anticipate attacks and reposition their forces. This led to a stalemate in many parts of the Eastern Front, as both sides tried to outsmart each other with better information. The need to protect reconnaissance planes also pushed the development of fighter aircraft, which could escort and defend these valuable assets. Overall, aerial reconnaissance made battlefield decisions faster and more accurate, shaping how battles unfolded. It was a major step toward modern military intelligence and changed how the Eastern Front was fought during the early stages of the war.